Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be designing and building a double bottle magic wine bottle holder. To see my video on the design and construction of a single bottle magic wine bottle holder, click on the link on the screen or the link in the video description. I'll be using a MATLAB code that I wrote for the design of this double bottle magic wine bottle holder, but you don't need the code because I'll just give you the dimensions here. However, if you do want to have control over the design, I'm posting a link to my MATLAB code, C++ code, and an Excel spreadsheet, so check the video description for those. I'll be using this piece of maple wood that I bought from Lowe's for under $5. I used part of this wood in my single bottle design, and I'll be using the remaining portion in this design here. Let's get started. So here we are in the code, and you can see that there's different sections to break this up into nice, easily digestible pieces. So the first one is the bottle parameters. Here you can set the bottle for both the bottom bottle and the top bottle. You can change it from Bordeaux to Burgundy to any custom that you want, but I'm going to keep it both as Bordeaux. If we go down to the wood parameters, the default is the pallet wood, and I'm going to change it to my Lowe's maple, but you can also set custom volumes and masses and have it calculate density, or set custom densities based off of what you measure yourself. So we'll keep it like this. And then in the run parameters, this is where the interesting stuff happens, and we can set our wood thickness, our wood width, the add length percentage, which is the same as from the single bottle description, the angle with respect to the table. The vertical separation is this new this new parameter here. My wood thickness is a 1/2 inch. The wood width is 3.5 inches, and I'm going to design it right now, and you'll see it pop up here and you can see that the add length will add length onto the end up here. So if I increase this to 20 and design again, you can see that the length increases here. I sort of like it at 15, so I'll leave it at 15. The angle with respect to the table, I always keep at 45 because I like that the best. The vertical separation dictates how far these bottles are vertically separated. So you can see that if I decrease this down to perhaps 40, now they're closer together, but I like the way that 50 looks. And so now you can see that we have the final design here with the two bottles, bottom bottle, top bottle, and it looks pretty good. And so the last thing to check is the solution down here, and as I mentioned in my previous video, you can change it to metric units as well, but I like to keep it in inches because that's what I'm using on my ruler right now. So if you look down at the hole section, the length to hole 1 is the length from the bottom of the board up to the first hole. Length to hole 2 is from the bottom of the board up to the second hole. I'll put these up on the whiteboard in a second. But again, as in my single bottle wine bottle holder video, I want to draw your attention to the hole diameters that you will drill in the wood perpendicular to the wood. There's a minimum hole diameter, which is the hole that has the diameter of the neck of the bottle, and so that's 1 inches because I set my neck diameter to 1 inch over here. And the maximum hole diameter is also called the flat hole diameter, which is the hole you would need to drill so that the bottle will lie flat with respect to the table. And so you can see that down here we have the min and the max, and on the slider you can change the value from the maximum, which is where I said it would lie horizontal, down to the minimum, which is where if you drilled the hole exactly equal to the neck diameter, if you could get the wine bottle in that case, it would lie perpendicular to the wood board. And it's red here because the CG changes location enough that I'm not confident that you will still be able to get with this design to get it to not fall over. So I would stay out of the red and the yellow. I'll go more into this in my math videos, the math behind this, behind the design videos. But in my case, I'm going to use a 1.5 inch hole saw to drill my holes because I have that and because I like the way that the upward angle looks of the bottles. So with this 1.5 inches, you can see that the bottles will lie at a slight upward angle. Both of them will. And so that's what I'll use for my hole diameter. These lengths to the holes still are valid, and then this is the length, the total length of the wood board, the thickness that we set, the angle that we set, and the clearance is just the vertical clearance of the lower bottle to the base here. So let's throw these numbers up on the whiteboard to see what they mean. Here are the dimensions from the code. So first I've drawn the isometric view just without the holes in the board, so you can see that it's the 3.5 inch width, it's a 1/2 inch thickness, and this is the total length of the board is 12.78 inches. And now if we look at as a front view of this with the holes in place here, again it's the 3.5 inches. I know this is over dimensioned, but I'm just trying to show you. So this is 3.5 inches here. Total length is 12.78 inches, and now we have the length from the bottom to the first hole is 3.82 inches, and from the bottom to the second hole is 10.18 inches. Both of these holes have a 1.5 inch diameter. Now here is the side view with the holes in place here. So you can see it's a 45-degree angle with respect to the table. From the bottom here, this point up to the first hole is 3.82 inches. From the bottom up to here is 10.18 inches, and the entire length of this is 12.78 inches. And again, these holes are both 1.5 inches. You'll note that I'm drawing the total length from this point all the way to this point because we're going to be dimensioning off of the base first, the base here up to the holes, and then we're going to be cutting after we're done drilling the holes or after we've found where the hole locations are. So the next step is to take our piece of wood and start drawing some of these dimensions on here so that we can bring it outside to cut it. Now let's draw some dimensions on our piece of wood. If we look at the ruler here, you can see it's upside down for you guys, but bear with me here. The top is in 16ths and the bottom is in divisions of 32nds. We're going to be using the 32nds to get close to what our decimal values are. So first we're going to look at the overall length, which is 12.78 inches. And if you look at the fraction 25 32nds, it equals 0.78125. So that sounds about right. So we will go 12. So we're going to go over to the 12 over here. 12, and we actually get into the 16ths here. So the 25 32nds is a little bit past the 3/4 mark. So I'm going to draw a line that's a little bit past the 3/4 mark, and then similarly up here it's a little bit past the 3/4 mark here, and we'll use the square here to finish up this line like so. So that's going to be the overall length of this board. Now the next dimension is from the base over here to the first hole, which is going to be 3.82 inches. And if you look at 26 32nds, it's 0.8125, and 27 32nds is 0.84375. So we'll pick something in between, so 26 and a half 32nds. So starting again from here, we can look at 3 and in between 26 and 27 32nds. So 3 and in between 26, so this 3/4 is 24. So 25, 26, 27. So in between those two right there. I'll do the same up here. That's 24, 25, 26, 27. So that's that one. Oops. And again, we'll draw that line here. Okay, and then the last one to do is the second hole, which will be somewhere up here, which is 10.18 inches. And if you look at 5 32nds, it's 0.15625, and for 6 32nds, it's 0.1875. So we'll be doing 6 32nds. That'll be close enough. So we want, if I extend this out a little bit, we want 10 and 6 32nds. So 10 and 6 32nds. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 32nds. Do it again up here. So 10 and 4, 5, 6 32nds, like so. Last line here, like so. And so we have the total length here, we have the first hole here, and the second hole up here. Now we want the location where we drill our hole to be in the centered on this wood board from side to side. So we know that the board is 3.5 inches in width, which means half of that is 1.75 inches. So if I use my square, I've set this to 4.5 here. This edge is at 4.5, such that it'll go from 1 to 4.5, which is 3.5 inches. If you move it like this, it's going from 0 to 3.5. Okay, so if I know that I want to be in 1.75 from the edge, then I can just add that to 1. So 1 plus 1.75 is 2.75, and that's where our hole center is going to be. So if I put it in like this and I go to 2 here, and then we have 2.5, and then we have 2.75 is right there, and that's going to be where we're going to drill our hole, and I'll just draw a little dot like that. And we'll do the same over here. We want to be on the line, and we have 2.5, and then we have 2.75, and I'm just going to draw a little mark there and draw a circle like that. And so that's where the two holes are going to be drilled. Okay, we're outside at the miter saw, and I've got the piece of wood in here, and you can see the line. This is the total length, which I'm going to cut first. And so you want the right side of the blade of the cutting edge to be on the line. Okay, so that's how we're going to set it up, like this, and then we can lock this in here, like so, and we can make our cut. So we've cut this to length. This is the final length. You can see that I've labeled B for bottom hole, T for top hole. So that means that we need to have this, it's going to be resting like this, 45-degree angle. So we're next going to make these 45-degree cuts here. So I'm going to, since we want to lie like this, I'm going to draw a line like that. And similarly on the other side, doesn't need to be precise because we'll use the miter saw. And then similarly on top, we're going to want that same cut to make it look nice. You don't technically need the top one, but I like it because it makes it look nice. And now we can turn our miter saw. So I'm going to turn this miter saw to 45 degrees. You can see the angle markings down here. I'll just unscrew this guy, and we'll turn this guy over to 45 degrees. Like so. And now we can make our cuts. You can't see from this vantage point when I pull down the blade, but in this case, since we're cutting from this side now and not from this side, we want the left, so the far side of the blade, the left edge of the blade to be right at the corner, right at this corner here, such that we're not cutting off any length of the board. We're just cutting off this little triangular piece. So after you've checked that you're cutting the right piece off, make sure the left edge of the blade is on the corner, and then make the cut. Okay, so we're going to make the cuts now. Get this all lined up here. Okay. The first one, and then the second one here. Gonna make the cut. Line it up again to the left edge of the blade. Just a little further. There we go. So now you can see this is the way that the wine bottle holder will be standing on the table. Bottom hole here, top hole here. Next thing we need to do is just drill these holes out. I'll be using this 1.5-inch hole saw, and you'll note that there's still a piece of wood in there from yesterday when I drilled the other hole for my single bottle wine bottle holder. And so the way to get this out is to unscrew this, and you can't really push it out, but you can get this out here by kind of banging on it like that, and now this piece comes out, and you can kind of just unscrew this piece, and that was the one from yesterday. So we'll be drilling. We got to assemble this one again, stick it back in there, make sure it's lined up correctly like that, throw this guy back on. Okay, tighten it. Okay, and then insert it back into the drill. And we're ready to go again. We need to make sure we have this guy clamped down, so make sure you have the whole side up. The one where you drew the holes on is faint on here, but the dot is right there. And then we can use a clamp on the table. Make sure the clamp doesn't interfere with you drilling the hole, and also make sure you don't tighten it too much because you don't want an indent in your wood, just enough so that it's sturdy like that. Okay, now we can drill the hole. Line it up with the, line up the centering bit with the dot, and then start drilling your hole. Okay, and that's the first hole, and we'll do the same thing for the second hole. I've clamped the wood to the next, so we can drill the next hole, but you should be careful because this is going to be extremely hot when you're done with the first hole, so I'm going to have to let this sit until I can unscrew it and take this piece out and then drill the second hole. Okay, it's cooled enough, so I'm not going to take that piece of wood out if I can. Okay. Okay, that's gone. Put it back in. If I could see. And there we go. And screw this guy back on. Okay, and we're ready for the second hole now. Remember to line up the centering bit with the hole, and then start drilling. Okay, and now we can take this off, and there we have it. The wine bottle hole. Let's take this inside and see if it actually works. So here's the finished product, and I didn't show this outside, but I need to sand this up, and then we need to just sand everything down a little bit and apply your stain. Make sure you don't sand too much here. This should remain flat, or rather this one should remain flat down here. So if you're going to sand a little bit, just take off a little bit of the roughness, but don't mess with the flat edge too much. That should be straight from the saw. Otherwise you're going to have it rocking back and forth. So the way that we can set this up is to make sure the bottom hole's on the bottom, the top hole's on the top. You're going to need 2 wine bottles. No, it will not work with 1 wine bottle. So in this case, I'm taking my bottom bottle, and to set this up, hold it, put the bottom bottle in, neck halfway to the halfway wood point, and then you're going to take your second bottle, insert it like so, and that was actually pretty easy. So here's the finished product. With the stain applied, sanded down, everything looks nice. This one's actually a different piece of wood. It's made out of pallet wood, but it still looks great. Thanks for watching this tutorial on how to design and build a double bottle magic wine bottle holder.